Hi guys, this is future editing Bethany. So I realized that my camera was not turned on for the introductory clip for this video. So this is the third and final Booktuber recommendation video that I'm making to celebrate hitting 3,000 subscribers. And in today's video, I'm recommending 13 of my favorite booktubers who have really warm personalities and are just exuberant or cozy to watch. I love all these people. Let me just preface this by saying in all these videos, there were definitely people that I was not able to talk about. There's so many wonderful people out there. So I'm sorry if there's people that got left out. I love a lot of other people. I could probably do more of these, but yeah. Anyway, I hope you enjoy.
The first person that I want to recommend to you today is Shayla from over at Shay Geeks Out. Shayla is so sweet and so kind, and she just has a really warm sort of presence. She reads a lot of manga, she reads a lot of sci-fi fantasy, and she reads a lot of romance. And she tends to stay on the lighter side of things. She avoids a little bit more of the dark side of fantasy and likes to keep it light and fun. And yeah, I just really enjoy her content. And so the book that I want to recommend to you today in conjunction with her channel is Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. This is one of my favorite books that I've read this year. It is a young adult science fiction novel about a young woman living on another planet who dreams of being a fighter pilot, and it's just really fun. It's fun, it's action-packed, and the reason that I picked this for Shayla's channel is because I think it just really gets at the lighthearted, fun side of sci-fi fantasy that she really seems to enjoy. The next person that I want to recommend to you has not officially started BookTube yet, but I know that she's filmed a couple videos and I'm trying to encourage her to start her channel. I did a buddy read with her and I just think she's wonderful. Her name is Jessica Barton. She is a mom, she reads a lot of romance, and she reads some other stuff as well, but I just really like her, so I thought I would put her in this video to encourage her to go for it and start a YouTube channel, so go check her out. And the book that I want to recommend to you in conjunction with her channel is The Wedding Date by Jasmine Guillory. This is a really great adult romance novel, and I wanted to recommend it because Jessica reads a lot of romance, and this is one that I really enjoyed. This one features an interracial romance, and our female protagonist is a curvy, successful Black woman. There's lots of body positivity, it's just lighthearted and really fun, so yeah. The Wedding Date by Jasmine Guillory. The next booktuber with fewer than 1,000 subscribers that I want to recommend to you is my friend Katrina over at the Fabulous Book Fiends. Katrina and I have been friends for a while. She's just really lovely. She's originally from the UK, but she lives in the US, travels back and forth. She just has a really chill vibe to her channel. She does chatty book reviews. She also reviews movies on her channel. She's really into watching films and talking about those as well. And I just really enjoy her. She's a lovely person. We've met several times and are good friends. The book that I want to recommend to you today in conjunction with her channel is Geekerella by Ashley Poston. I really loved this book, and Katrina recently read it, and then we buddy read the companion novel to this together. It is a contemporary young adult retelling of Cinderella, but it's really for fangirls, and it shows a lot of love to conventions and fandoms, and it just like warms my heart. I love this a lot. I think it's a really great book, as is the companion novel. And the reason I wanted to pick this for Katrina's channel is she is definitely a fangirl at heart, and she does read a lot of contemporary. She'll occasionally get into a little bit of fantasy, but her main thing is like nonfiction and a lot of contemporary and a lot of romance. So go check out Geekerella by Ashley Poston and the Fabulous Book Fiends. And the final booktuber with fewer than 1,000 subscribers that I want to recommend to you today is Brandy from Brandys Bookshelf. She's another one who is just so sweet. She's so warm and so supportive and a really wonderful part of the community, and I would love to see more people follow her. She also has a really chill, kind of laid back vibe, and she reads a lot of romance and a lot of science fiction and fantasy, so we do have a good bit of crossover in what we read. The book that I want to recommend to you in conjunction with her channel was one of my personal favorites that I read last year. This is Written and Read by Anne Bishop. This is the first in a really great paranormal urban fantasy series that also just feels really cozy and has amazing world building and really rich characters. I loved this. Brandy really likes it, and the other reason that this makes me think of her is she, being as sweet as she is, for Christmas bought me like 3 of the books in this series, which I like appreciate so much. So yeah, go check out Written and Read and Brandys Bookshelf. Moving on, I have 8 booktubers to share with you today who have between 1,000 and 5,000 subscribers, who have this sort of warm, exuberant type of channel. The first person I want to recommend to you is Steph from Steph's Romance Book Talk. I only recently discovered her, and she's amazing. Like, if you like romance, this girl is the person to go to for romance. She reads about as much as I do, which is kind of fun to see that I'm not the only person who's crazy enough to read like 300 books in a year. She reads an insane number of books as well, but almost all of it is romance. And so she is like the expert. She's really warm and funny and has an adorable little family. And so yeah, definitely go check out Steph. I have really been enjoying her ever since getting to know her and her channel a little bit. And so of course the book that I'm going to recommend to you is a romance, and this is one of my personal favorite contemporary romances because she does read mostly contemporary. This is A Duke by Default by Alyssa Cole. This is the second book in her Reluctant Royals series, and so far it is my favorite of the bunch. This is definitely one of my favorite adult contemporary romance series that's going at the moment. Alyssa Cole is a Black female author, and she just writes amazing books that are fun with good romance, but also weave in like substantive issues, which is a thing I tend to enjoy in my romance. A Duke by Default is a very slow burn romance that is interracial. It takes place in Scotland, and there's lots of like snarky banter, which I am absolutely here for, so I'm gonna recommend this one to you. The next booktuber that I want to recommend to you is Rachel from Rachel Marie Book Junkie. Again, she discovered my channel and I found her through her comments on my videos, but she's just lovely. She is an international booktuber. She recently moved to Amsterdam. She has kind of a broad reading taste. She does read a lot of sci-fi fantasy, but other things as well, and I just really like her. Again, she's just so sweet and open and thoughtful, and I just really like her a lot. So the book that I want to recommend to you in conjunction with her channel is one that I know that she really loved last year. This is An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. This is a Middle Eastern inspired fantasy novel, the first book in the series. It's young adult, it's very action-packed and plot-driven. So I think if you're looking for a really good plot-driven novel that's got political intrigue and romance and lots of action, but also really great characters and villains with like morally gray characters woven in, I would check out An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. Next is a really lovely booktuber who I actually got to meet in person recently, which was really cool. She was visiting New York and we met up and had coffee and went to a bookshop, and it was great. This is Madeline from Novel Inc. I just really like her. I think she's super sweet and I enjoy her channel. She also just has this really kind of warm vibe to her, and the book that I want to recommend to you for her channel is Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan MacGuire. I picked this because this is the sort of fantasy that I think Madeline likes to read. She does also read a lot of contemporary. She reads a lot of young adult novels, but she also reads some fantasy, and I think this shorter form type fantasy that's less epic and is more focused on the characters and the story seems to be something that works really well for her. Also, this is a book that has really great queer representation in it, and Madeline is queer, and so that's also a big part of her reading, things that she talks about on her channel, so I thought this was a good pick for her. Every Heart a Doorway is the first in the Wayward Children series, which I love, and I'm so excited because it actually just got announced that this is going to be turned into a TV show, and I am like beyond excited, guys, because I love it so much. The premise of the series is that other worlds do exist. Portal fantasies exist, and children might go to those worlds and come back to our world and have trouble coping. And so the School for Wayward Children is a place where they can go when they're having trouble coping with returning. And Every Heart a Doorway takes place at that school and is sort of the beginning of this series where you then follow different characters that you meet in this first book and see more of their journeys to different places. This one also contains a bit of a murder mystery, and I just really love it. I love the whole series a whole lot. Next is someone who has taken BookTube by storm. It's absolutely deserved. She's been in the blogger world for a really, really long time, has like thousands of followers on Goodreads, and I have come to love her so, so much. This is Melanie from Mel City Ani. I got to know her through Instagram originally, but she recently started a BookTube channel, and y'all should go follow her. She is just the kindest, sweetest, warmest person, and she makes you feel so loved and appreciated, and I am just amazed at how she's able to do that with everybody. She just makes people feel like she genuinely cares about you, and I think she does. Like, she's just such a kind, warm-hearted person. So go follow Melanie from Mel City Ani. She also integrates a lot of ASMR stuff into her videos, which is like not my favorite thing necessarily, but I know a lot of people have been loving it, and I think it's a really cool niche addition to the booktube universe. The book that I want to recommend to you in conjunction with her channel is another one that I really love. This is Reign of the Fallen by Sarah Glenn Marsh. I think this is a very underappreciated series. I know Melanie and I both really love it. Reign of the Fallen is a young adult fantasy novel that's like casually queer. Our main character is a bisexual necromancer, and she lives in a world where the dead literally rule the world and have been brought back to life, but then people start dying and things start happening. It's just really, really good. It's so well done. It also dives into some heavier issues like grief and addiction and the way that those things can sometimes intersect. I think it's such a powerful series, this and Song of the Dead. And the reason that I chose this for Melanie's channel is a few reasons. Number one thing that I've said about this book is that it really reminds me of something that would turn into a really great RPG video game. Just the way that it's written, there's something about it. And I know Melanie is a cyber, she's into some types of gaming and RPGs, so I thought that was kind of fun. Also, this is another book that is queer. Melanie identifies as pansexual, and that is also a part of her channel that she talks about a lot. And both of us were mentioned in the acknowledgements for the second book in the series, which I was like so thrilled. I actually found out about it because I was watching her Instagram stories where she was showing it, and then I saw my name on the list. I was like, oh my gosh! Ah! Anyway, I freaked out. It was very exciting. So yeah, go check out Melanie. She is just a lovely human being, and go read Reign of the Fallen by Sarah Glenn Marsh. Next, I want to recommend to you a Australian booktuber who I love a whole lot. This is Jean from Happy Indulgents. She is very exuberant and warm. She recently had her first baby, and I have been so impressed with how she is continuing to keep up with her Instagram and her YouTube. It's interesting because we have very similar tastes in the types of books we pick up, but we don't always exactly agree on our ratings. Sometimes we do, and sometimes we don't, but I really enjoy her. So I think if you like the kind of young adult books that I read, a lot of the sci-fi fantasy stuff that I read, she reads some other stuff too, but mostly that, then I would go check out her channel. And the book that I want to recommend to you today in conjunction with her channel is King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. She recently made a video where she was like gushing about how much she loves Nikolai Lanitsov. I gotta say, he is a pretty great character and one of the main characters in King of Scars. This follows up the Grisha trilogy, the Shadow and Bone trilogy, and the Six of Crows duology, so it is recommended to read those prior to reading this, but I really loved it. I love all three of the perspective characters that we got in here. I think it's a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see where it goes. Next, I want to recommend another very, very sweet booktuber who I know has been very busy in the last few months and has been making less content, which we all completely understand, but I love her and would love to see her continue on BookTube. I think she's just a wonderful, warm presence, and that is Derby from Derby Lane Reading. I met Derby kind of randomly through a buddy read, and I just love her. She's so cute and so sweet, and I don't know, there's just something about her that I think you will love. Go check her out. The recommendation that I want to talk about for her channel is American Street by E.B. Zoboi. I'm a huge fan of E.B. Zoboi writing. I think she writes really great contemporary fiction that has a hint of magical realism to it and just weaves so many things together in these really impactful ways. American Street is her debut novel, and it follows a girl who is immigrating from Haiti to Detroit and dealing with the ramifications of what that is like. I know this is a book that Derby picked up for Latinx-a-thon last year, and the reason that I picked it is that it's kind of conjunction of multiple things. It's got realistic fiction, which she does read realistic fiction and nonfiction, but it's also got magic to it, and she does read some fantasy and magical realism. That's something that I know that she really enjoys, and it also has some diverse representation. Derby is a Latinx booktuber, so that's something that I know she cares about and tries to integrate into some of her reading. So I'm going to recommend American Street and Derby Lane Reading. My next recommendation for a booktuber between 1,000 and 5,000 subscribers is the Queen of Cozy Mysteries, Courtney from The Protagonist. I do not read a lot of cozy mysteries, but I still really enjoy Courtney's content because she's just so sweet and so excited about the things that she reads. She has so much passion, and she's just such a kind person. Like, all of the people on this list are sort of that way, which is why I grouped them together, because they just have these really warm personalities. You just feel cozy and welcome on their channels, and Courtney is absolutely that way. The book that I picked is not a cozy mystery, but it is a mystery. I don't actually know if she's read this book, but it's one that I really enjoyed that is a mystery, so it seemed like somewhat relevant. This is The Cheerleaders by Kara Thomas. This is a young adult mystery that came out last year that I really enjoyed. It's about a teen girl who is trying to figure out how and why her sister and 2 other cheerleaders died 5 years prior. I really thought it was great. I thought it was really well plotted. I really enjoyed it. I don't read a lot of mysteries, but this is one that I quite enjoyed. And I would recommend you go check out Courtney's channel if you guys want some good cozy mystery recommendations. And yeah, she's just lovely. The final booktuber I want to recommend with between 1,000 and 5,000 subscribers today is Krista over at Books and Jams. Again, I think Krista is just such a lovely person. I've been so privileged to get to know her over the last year. We did a buddy read together and want to do more in the future. The book that I want to recommend to you in conjunction with her channel is Nevermoor, The Trials of Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend. This is a really wonderful, magical, middle grade fantasy novel, and I loved it a lot. And the reason that I wanted to include this for Krista's channel is that she is the creator of Middle Grade March. She runs this every year where she reads almost all middle grade books for an entire month and puts together wonderful lists of recommendations from lots of different booktubers, and it's just such a cool thing to do. That children are an important part of her life, and so she reads a good bit of middle grade. I also, when I think of her channel, think of historical fiction. That's a pretty significant part of her reading, and she does read a little bit of like YA and fantasy, but it's definitely not her main wheelhouse. A lot of middle grade, a lot of historical fiction, and contemporary fiction. So yeah, go check her out and read Nevermoor. The final booktuber that I want to talk about today has fewer than 10,000 subscribers, at least last I checked, but she's pretty close, so she might be over by now. I don't know. We'll see. You'll see on the picture when I edit this video. This is Livy from I, Livy for Books. She is the sweetest. I love her so, so much. She is just so, so sweet. We actually met briefly in person at BookCon last year, and she's just like, you just like want to give her hugs. She's so sweet, and she's so talented too. She's really, really artistic. She does these artsy videos where she draws stuff, and she's amazingly talented. I keep telling her she should sell her art because I know she's in college, so she's busy and doesn't post videos all that often, but she is an absolute sweetheart, and I love her so, so much. So the book that I want to recommend to you in conjunction with her channel is a book that I know she loved, I loved it, and somewhere there's a video of her doing amazing art on the cover of this book and on the edges, and it's gorgeous, so you should go find that. Maybe I'll link it up above if I can find it. That is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. This is a debut novel. It is young adult fantasy inspired by West African mythology. I really enjoyed this. It's very fun and action-packed, and I think does some really great things in terms of representation and talking about justice and talking about identity, and yeah, I think it's fantastic. I know Livy really loved this as well, and so I thought this would be a great pick for her channel. So there you have it. Those are 13 booktubers I love who have really warm and exuberant personalities. I hope you go check all of them out. I know there are people that have not made it into these videos. There are other booktubers who I really love a lot, but I couldn't include everyone, so yeah, it's always hard like narrowing down these things, but these are all people who are really fantastic. Go check them out. Talk to me in the comments down below and let me know any of your thoughts on this. Again, thank you all so much for 3,000 subscribers. This was a really fun way to give back to the community and just celebrate this milestone in my channel's journey. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.